The sun was high in the sky, its rays piercing through the canopy of trees lining our quiet suburban street. It was a day like any other, or so I thought as I turned the corner onto our block. The sight of an unfamiliar car, sleek and black, parked in our driveway instantly sent a jolt of unease through me. My grip tightened around the steering wheel, knuckles whitening. What the hell is going on here? I muttered under my breath, my mind racing with possibilities. Both of us were supposed to be at work. The house should have been empty, silent, waiting for our return. I parked my car behind a mysterious visitor, my heart thudding in my chest. Each step towards the front door felt heavier than the last, a mix of dread and anger simmering within me. I fumbled for my keys, the metal cold against my shaking hands. The house stood ominously quiet, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside me. Pushing the door open, I was greeted by a sight that made my stomach churn. Clothes were strewn across the living room floor, a trail of betrayal leading towards our bedroom. My mind refused to accept the scene unfolding before me, clinging to any shred of denial left. "Anna?" My voice echoed through the empty halls, a plea for an innocent explanation that deep down I knew wouldn't come. The silence was suffocating, each second stretching into eternity as I approached the bedroom door, my heart in my throat. The door creaked open, revealing the devastating truth. There, in our bed, lay Anna and an unknown man, their naked bodies intertwined in sleep. The world seemed to stop spinning, the air sucked out of the room. I stood frozen, a spectator to my own life crumbling before my eyes. "Anna." The anger in my voice cut through the silence like a knife, jolting her awake. Her eyes, wide with shock and fear, met mine, and for a moment, time stood still. "John, this isn't what it looks like," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper, betraying her guilt. I laughed, a hollow sound filled with disbelief and pain. "Isn't it, Anna? Because it looks exactly like you've shattered everything we had." The stranger stirred, blinking against the light, confusion etched on his face as he realized the gravity of the situation. "Who the hell are you?" I demanded, my voice laced with venom. "My name is Michael," he mumbled, avoiding my gaze, the shame evident in his voice. The room felt suffocating, the air thick with betrayal and lies. I needed to escape, to breathe, to think. My marriage, my trust, my entire life lay in ruins at my feet, and the journey ahead promised nothing but pain and heartache. The world outside seemed oblivious to the storm raging inside me as I stumbled out of the bedroom, my mind a cacophony of betrayal and disbelief. The walls of our home, once filled with laughter and love, now felt like a prison of lies. I made my way to the living room, each step echoing the shattering of the life I thought I knew. I collapsed onto the couch, my head in my hands, trying to piece together where things had gone so wrong. The image of Anna and Michael, entwined in what was once our sanctuary, replayed over and over in my mind, each time like a fresh wound. It wasn't long before Anna, wrapped in a sheet, found me. Her eyes were red, swollen from tears, a stark contrast to the composed woman I married. "John, please let me explain," she pleaded, her voice trembling. I looked up, the hurt evident in my eyes. "Explain? How do you explain this, Anna? How do you justify tearing our lives apart?" She took a hesitant step forward, reaching out as if to touch me, but I recoiled. "It was a mistake, John. I never meant for any of this to happen. It got out of control." "A mistake?" I echoed, my voice rising with anger. "You call this a mistake? This is betrayal, Anna. You've destroyed us." She flinched at my words, tears streaming down her face. "I know, I'm so sorry, John. I know sorry isn't enough, but I don't know what else to say." The room fell silent, the air heavy with words left unsaid and apologies that could never mend the broken trust between us. The chasm that had opened up in our marriage seemed insurmountable. As we stood there, the distance between us more than just physical, the sound of footsteps approached. Michael, now dressed, his expression one of remorse and embarrassment, entered the room. "I should go," he muttered, avoiding eye contact. "Yes, you should," I replied coldly, my gaze fixed on him, a reminder of the stranger who had invaded my life, my home. Anna looked between us, the conflict evident on her face. "John, save it, Anna. There's nothing you can say." My words cut her off, the finality in my voice leaving no room for further discussion. With that, Michael left, the door closing behind him with a soft click, a symbolic end to the life I had known. Anna and I were left in the ruins of our marriage, the silence between us a testament to the depth of our estrangement. In that moment, I realized the full extent of the damage done. My trust was shattered, my heart broken, and the future I had envisioned with Anna lay in ruins at my feet. The path forward was unclear, but one thing was certain. Our lives would never be the same again. The aftermath of the revelation was a blur of sleepless nights and endless questions. How long had it been going on? Were there signs I had missed? Could our marriage be salvaged, or was it beyond repair? The house felt colder, the silence between Anna and me a gaping chasm that seemed impossible to bridge. One evening, as I sat at the kitchen table staring blankly at a cup of coffee that had long since gone cold, Anna walked in. She looked weary, the weight of our situation etched into the lines of her face. She hesitated at the doorway before taking a tentative step inside, as if entering the lair of a wounded animal. "John, can we talk?" Her voice was soft, almost a whisper, but it cut through the silence like a knife. I looked up, meeting her gaze for the first time in days. "What's left to talk about, Anna?" My voice was flat, drained of emotion. "I know I've hurt you, more than I can ever express. And I know I don't deserve your forgiveness," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor I saw in her hands. "But I owe you an explanation. Not excuses, but an explanation." I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. "I'm listening," I said, though part of me wondered if there was anything she could say that would make a difference. She took a deep breath, as if bracing herself against the storm to come. "It started a few months ago. I was feeling lost, disconnected from everything, even from you. Michael was just there. He listened, made me feel seen when I felt invisible. It was a moment of weakness, a mistake that spiraled out of control." Her words hung in the air between us, a confession that offered no comfort. "And that makes it okay?" I asked, the bitterness in my voice surprising even me. "No, it doesn't. Nothing can make this okay," she replied, her voice breaking. I felt so alone, John. We've been drifting apart for so long, and I didn't know how to bridge that gap." I sighed, a part of me wanting to reach out, to find the woman I fell in love with beneath the layers of betrayal and hurt. But another part of me recoiled, unable to reconcile the image of the devoted wife with the woman who stood before me now. "Where do we go from here, Anna?" I asked, the question heavy with the weight of our fractured past and uncertain future. She wiped away a tear, her gaze meeting mine with a vulnerability I hadn't seen in years. "I don't know, John. I want to make things right, if that's even possible. I want to try to rebuild what we've lost, but I know that decision isn't mine to make alone." The room fell silent once more, the air thick with the enormity of the decision before us. To try to mend the unbridgeable, to rebuild from the ashes of betrayal, or to walk away from the ruins of our marriage, each path fraught with pain and uncertainty. As I looked at Anna, her eyes pleading for a second chance, I realized the tempest of emotions raging within me had no simple resolution. Forgiveness seemed like a distant shore, and yet the thought of letting go, of ending the chapter of our lives together, filled me with an unexpected sense of loss. The path forward was unclear, shrouded in the fog of hurt and betrayal. But in that moment, I understood that whatever decision we made, it would have to be one we walked together, through the tempest and beyond. The days that followed were a study in restraint. Anna and I moved around each other like two planets in a decaying orbit, each moment together a reminder of the chasm that had opened up between us. Despite her attempts to bridge the gap, to find a foothold in the ruins of our relationship, I found myself withdrawing further, the hurt too raw, the betrayal too deep. It was on one such evening, as I sat in the dim light of the living room, nursing a glass of whiskey, that a thought struck me, a dark, insidious whisper that promised a salve for my wounded pride. Revenge. The idea took root in my mind, growing with each sip of the amber liquid, each replay of the betrayal. The opportunity presented itself a few days later in the form of an unexpected encounter with Michael's wife, Sarah. We ran into each other at the local supermarket, the awkwardness of the situation evident in her forced smile and the way her eyes darted around, seeking an escape. "John," Sarah began, her voice tinged with unease, I'm so sorry for what happened." I studied her for a moment, noting the genuine regret in her eyes. "Thank you, Sarah. It's been difficult," I replied, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. We stood in silence for a moment, the air between us heavy with unspoken words. Then, driven by the dark seed that had taken root in my heart, I made a decision that would alter the course of our lives forever. "Sarah, would you like to grab a coffee sometime? There's a lot we could talk about," I suggested, the words laced with an undercurrent of something darker than mere camaraderie. Her eyes widened slightly, surprised by the invitation. After a moment of hesitation, she nodded. "Yes, I think I'd like that," she said, a trace of resolve in her voice. The coffee meeting was the first step on a path driven by vengeance. Sarah and I found solace in our shared pain, our conversations a mix of commiseration and a growing, unspoken understanding of the role we were to play in each other's quest for retribution. As our meetings became more frequent, the line between seeking comfort and enacting revenge began to blur. It wasn't long before our shared hurt gave way to a dangerous intimacy, one fueled by the desire to make Anna and Michael feel the depth of the pain they had inflicted upon us. One evening, as Sarah and I sat close together on a secluded bench in the park, the reality of what we were doing hit me with the force of a tidal wave. "John," Sarah whispered, her voice a mix of fear and determination, "are we becoming the very thing we despise?" I turned to look at her, the moonlight casting shadows across her face, highlighting the conflict in her eyes. "I don't know," I admitted, the taste of revenge turning bitter in my mouth, "but it's too late to turn back now." Sarah nodded, a silent agreement to the dark pact we had forged. We sat in silence, the night air thick with the understanding that we had crossed a line, that our quest for revenge had taken on a life of its own, one that threatened to consume us just as surely as it consumed Anna and Michael. In that moment, I realized the cost of revenge was far greater than I had anticipated. It was not just the betrayal that had poisoned my heart, but the desire for retribution that had led me down a path from which there was no easy return. The taste of revenge, once sweet, had turned to ash, leaving me to wonder if the price of vengeance was a price worth paying. The weeks that followed were a testament to the old adage that revenge is a dish best served cold. Sarah and I had embarked on a path that, while initially providing a bitter sense of satisfaction, gradually morphed into a heavy cloak of guilt and remorse. Our actions, born from a desire to inflict pain upon those who had wronged us, had instead begun to erode our own sense of self, leaving us questioning the morality of our choices. One evening, as the autumn leaves painted the world in hues of fire and gold, I found myself sitting across from Anna in the quiet desperation of our living room. The air was thick with unspoken words, a tangible reminder of the chasm that had grown between us. "John," Anna's voice broke the silence, her eyes searching mine for a sign of the man she once knew. "I know I have no right to ask for your forgiveness, but I need to know. Is there a part of you that can still see a future for us? A future where we can move past the hurt and rebuild?" Her words hung in the air, a fragile hope amidst the ruins of our marriage. I looked at her, really looked, and saw not just the woman who had betrayed me, but the partner who had shared a lifetime of memories, both joyous and painful. "Anna," I began, the weight of my own betrayal heavy on my tongue. "I've been seeking my own form of revenge. It's not just you who has caused pain." The confession seemed to hang between us, a new wound inflicted upon an already battered heart. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper, dread etched into every syllable. "I found solace in someone else's pain, in Sarah's. We sought to hurt you and Michael as we were hurt," I admitted, the taste of the truth bitter and unforgiving. The silence that followed was deafening, a chasm of betrayal and hurt that seemed insurmountable. "So, we are both guilty of seeking comfort in the arms of another," Anna finally said, her voice laced with a sorrow that mirrored my own. "Where does that leave us, John?" I sighed, the weight of our shared transgressions a heavy chain around my heart. "I don't know, Anna, but I do know that revenge has only brought more pain. And silence has cost us both more than we ever imagined." Anna nodded, a tear tracing a silent path down her cheek. "The silence has been deafening, John. But maybe it's time we break it, not with accusations or anger, but with an honest attempt to understand and forgive, if not forget." Her proposal hung in the air, a beacon of hope in the darkness that had enveloped our lives. It was a daunting prospect, to confront the pain and betrayal head-on, to navigate the treacherous waters of forgiveness and healing. But in that moment, I realized that the price of silence was far too high, a barrier to the possibility of redemption and a future untainted by the past. Let's break the silence, Anna. Let's start anew, not as the people we were, but as the people we hope to become, I said, the decision feeling like a first step on a long and uncertain journey towards healing. Anna reached across the space that had divided us, her hand finding mine, a tangible connection amidst the emotional turmoil. Together, John, we'll find a way through this together. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with the potential for more pain and heartache. But in breaking the silence, in choosing to face our demons together, we had taken the first step towards reclaiming the love and trust that had once defined our relationship. The price of silence, we had learned, was far too great to bear. And in its place, we had found a fragile hope for a future built on the foundations of understanding, forgiveness, and a love that, though battered, remained unbroken. The journey of healing and reconciliation is often fraught with setbacks and heartache, a truth Anna and I came to understand all too well in the weeks that followed our decision to break the silence. Yet with each passing day, we committed ourselves to the arduous task of rebuilding the trust and intimacy that had once been the cornerstone of our marriage. It was a process that demanded patience, understanding, and an unwavering commitment to one another. One crisp autumn evening, as we sat together on our porch, wrapped in blankets against the chill in the air, Anna broke the comfortable silence that had settled between us. "John, do you remember our trip to the coast, the year before everything went wrong?" she asked, her voice tinged with nostalgia. I smiled at the memory, a bittersweet reminder of simpler times. How could I forget? We got caught in that downpour and ended up laughing and dancing in the rain like a couple of kids. Anna laughed, the sound of melody that warmed my heart. Yes, exactly. It was spontaneous and silly, and perfect. I missed that, the us that could find joy in the unexpected. I reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. I missed that too. But I believe we can find our way back, maybe not to the same place we were before, but to somewhere new, somewhere better. She leaned her head on my shoulder, a silent affirmation of our shared hope for the future. I want that, John, a new beginning, not just for us, but for the love we share. A love that's wiser, stronger, and more forgiving. The conversation marked a turning point for us, a commitment to not only mend the fractures in our relationship, but to forge a new path forward, one defined by mutual respect, understanding, and a renewed sense of joy in the life we shared. In the weeks that followed, we made a conscious effort to reintroduce spontaneity and laughter into our lives. We'd embarked on small adventures, exploring the hidden gems of our city, trying new hobbies together, and creating new memories to replace the old ones tainted by pain and betrayal. One evening, as we experimented with a painting class, a medium neither of us had any talent for, Anna looked over at my canvas, a mess of colors and indiscernible shapes, and burst into laughter. "John, what on earth is that supposed to be?" she asked between giggles, her eyes sparkling with amusement. I glanced at her masterpiece, a surprisingly adept rendition of the still life we were supposed to be painting, and then back at my own. "It's abstract art, Anna. It's meant to capture the essence of the subject, not the literal form." Her laughter filled the room, infectious and genuine, and soon I joined in, the sound of our shared joy a testament to the progress we had made. Abstract art, huh? Well, I think it perfectly captures the essence of our new beginning, unexpected, a little messy, but beautiful in its own right, she said, her hand finding mine as we laughed together. That moment, simple yet profound, encapsulated the essence of our new beginning. It wasn't about erasing the past or returning to the way things were before the betrayal. It was about embracing the present, with all its imperfections and uncertainties, and building a future that acknowledged our mistakes, but wasn't defined by them. As Anna and I continued to navigate the complexities of forgiveness and healing, we did so with the understanding that our love, though tested, remained a source of strength and hope. Our new beginning wasn't marked by grand gestures or declarations of undying love, but by the quiet moments of connection and understanding that filled our days, a testament to the enduring power of love to overcome even the deepest of wounds. The process of healing and moving forward was neither linear nor predictable. Anna and I found ourselves navigating a maze of emotions, sometimes feeling as if we had taken one step forward only to take two steps back. Yet, with each challenge, we learned more about ourselves and each other, our commitment to rebuilding our relationship growing stronger with each passing day. One chilly evening, as we sat by the fireplace, the flickering flames casting a warm glow over the room. Anna turned to me, her expression thoughtful. "John, do you ever think about the future? I mean, really think about what it holds for us?" she asked, her voice soft but carrying an undercurrent of earnest curiosity. I considered her question, the weight of it settling in my chest. "I do," I admitted, turning to meet her gaze. "I think about it a lot, actually. I used to fear the future, afraid of what it might bring, or worse, what it might not bring. But now I find myself feeling hopeful, curious even, about what we can build together." Emma smiled, a gentle, reassuring smile that eased the tightness in my chest. "I feel the same way. It's strange, isn't it? After everything that's happened, we're still here, together, looking forward to the future." "It is strange," I agreed, "but it's also kind of wonderful. We've been given a second chance. Not many people get that. I don't want to waste it." "Neither do I," she said, reaching for my hand and intertwining her fingers with mine. "John, I want us to make a promise to each other right here, right now. A promise to always communicate, to never let silence build walls between us again, to face our problems together, no matter how daunting they may seem." I nodded, the significance of her words not lost on me. "I promise, Anna, and I want to add to that promise. Let's vow to never lose sight of the joy in our relationship, to keep seeking out those moments of spontaneity and laughter, to remind ourselves of why we fell in love in the first place." Anna's eyes shone with unshed tears, a mixture of happiness and resolve. "I promise, John. Together, we'll navigate the road ahead, no matter where it leads." Our conversation that evening served as a foundation for the new chapter we were embarking on together. It was a commitment to not only heal the wounds of the past, but to actively work towards a future filled with love, understanding, and joy. In the weeks and months that followed, Anna and I made good on our promises. We communicated openly, sharing our fears, hopes, and dreams without reservation. We made a conscious effort to inject humor and spontaneity into our daily lives, often surprising each other with small acts of kindness or impromptu date nights. One afternoon, as we prepared dinner together in the kitchen, a spontaneous food fight broke out, laughter and mock indignation filling the air as we playfully tossed ingredients at each other. The mess was considerable, but so was the joy it brought us, a reminder of the lightness and love that had once defined our relationship. As we cleaned up the aftermath, Anna wrapped her arms around me from behind, resting her head against my back. "This right here is what I want our future to be filled with: love, laughter, and the occasional food fight," she whispered, her voice full of contentment. I turned in her embrace, pulling her close. "And we'll have it all, Anna. The road ahead may be uncertain, but as long as we're together, I have no doubt it'll be a journey worth taking." The road ahead was indeed uncertain, filled with potential pitfalls and unforeseen challenges. But Anna and I faced it with a renewed sense of hope and determination, our love a guiding light as we stepped forward into the future, hand in hand, hearts united.